And
Hello.
we're back. So, what teams do we have playing with us today, FDD?
We have my own team, the Sandwich Academy, and we also have the team led by Little Blitz from the BrainStorm organization, BrainStorm Silver to Gold.
Right. So, as I'm aware, this is going to be a low plat scrim, if I'm not mistaken.
Indeed.
You can see some good stuff coming out from that sort of skill rank. I've seen really good plays. It's just not as common as in the higher ranks as sort of expected because the mechanics aren't as consistent, but it's still very strong gameplay, especially with good team synergy, which I can't wait to see. I don't know how new these teams are or how long they've been playing together, but hopefully both teams will be, putting their best into it. So, what about you, FTD? How are you
Uh,
feeling about this matchup?
I'm feeling pretty confident in my team here. Shappy is very good. Kipak's an excellent main tank. Jurian is probably one of the best DPS in GGU. Weirdo is a very potent Genji one trick, and even even being a one trick, he's shown that he's very good. Moomis is a
On
very
other
good
roles, Genji
on
one trick's capable to play more than one thing, which is
Genji one
not
trick's
Genji.
capable. Genji
Wow.
one trick's capable, man. Like,
I
ah,
wish
yeah,
I
yeah,
wish I was that capable, FTD.
yeah.
I just roll out into comp and I'm like, I'm losing, so I might as well just
I'm
go
losing.
Genji, and then no longer losing, which is quite nice. So there's always that to fall on.
Weirdo's definitely proven himself as a Genji. He wants to progress as Genji. The only thing that's really holding him back is the fact that he only knows how to play said Genji. And like Tin Horn's also
That
very good Diana.
that is a problem though. When specializing in a hero does allow you to excel in that hero, but when you find yourself in these higher skill ratings, it makes it so much harder to learn other heroes. Like for example, I got Master's Peak in the Genji meta, but then I wanted to learn Echo and Tracer for this meta, and I dropped a hard like 200 SR. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
quite punishable. When you're trying to learn other heroes, and
Widow's
that's yeah,
Widow's definitely
it's
very good. And I've told him like in my coaching sessions and with my coach as well. We've all been telling him he has the level to easily probably get diamond on Genji. But the meta just doesn't allow him to get to diamond because Genji just isn't very powerful anymore.
yeah,
And
that's one of the things though. Like meta is very dependent, and the current meta is so scuffed.
the current
Like what
meta is very
comp meta and scrim meta is so different, and it's so painful to like see it because you want to go into comp to practice for scrims and that, but the
it's
meta
just
is
not
like a
the same.
completely different set because there's not enough coordination for you to get good value out of the double bubble. So that's why Hog is so much preferred because you don't need the coordination to actually perform it,
This is
and the
where
Hog is just like a solo play, isn't he?
I've found my team with the Sandwich Academy as well, is that they're starting to get about to the teamwork where they are no longer running. I've told them they're not allowed to play Hog unless the coach says so, because they definitely can run a goat. They can run a Winston Zarya here. Okay, and Brainstorm is also a very good team, Nika, because they're
Yeah.
very potent. They've got a lot of very good players. Like one of them came to my tryouts, and he definitely had the level to be able to fight the academy. Yeah,
Yeah, we could.
we're gonna
I
meet.
mean, it should be a good game. That's what I'm sure.
Oh
Um,
yes,
so we are looking for.
and Nepal,
I
and
believe we're
Nepal,
playing on Nepal. Nepal.
Nepal.
That's gonna be
Very interesting indeed,
very
because
interesting. Yeah, I reckon. See, there's quite a few ways you can play Nepal. Like the
there's
maps types are very sort of different, but I think double bubble becomes quite supreme on most out
uh,
of 2 of the 3 maps. I think it's village where you can get away with like a cheeky Symmetra May and
I
play
think
point.
you're more mistaken on that one here, Kirk. Is that I've showed these players of Academy how powerful ball can be on the Pole Sanctum.
Oh
Knowing
no.
I am a bit of a Nepal Sanctum one trick with
Yes, I've
all
I've seen your ball on the Sanctum, man.
the, the
It's
Sanctum one,
something else.
the
It's something else,
Sanctum
that's for sure.
combos. It works. There's a lot. Like the thing is with
It
control
works,
is
but it only works to the failure of the opposing team being
Like
aware of it.
you
As
have
soon as
to.
they become aware of it, it becomes a very ineffective
Ah,
strategy.
another once again, people don't ever really get aware. I don't know how it is in your ranks, Kirk, but like at least in these sorts of levels, you can definitely run a ball for like in the entirety of the map without an issue. For example, hiding
Right.
outside on Sanctum, hiding inside and waiting for them to come to point because you like really what you really want on ball here on this first map is going if it's Sanctum, it's you must get the point. If you get the point, you are set up for the entire
My
match.
only problem with the ball pick though, FTD, is the fact that Sombra is meta. Sombra Tracer, double bubble, and that's meta with a brig. And that brig and the Sombra is very dominant, you know what I mean, in
It's very
shutting
powerful
out a ball.
indeed.
It's very good at shutting out a ball, which is my only problem with that, with the whole ball setup. But I believe we are about to go into the map right about now.
Yeah, it's going to be. We shall see. Because also, as you said, Kirk, it's very powerful in very powerful in high elos. Sombra's very strong there, but in these sorts of elos where Sombra's not really a very played hero, she's not really known for her power because people
Mm.
just think Sombra doesn't do enough damage to kill someone. She's useless. That's
I
where
think I think
that's
that's
where
where
we're
the
going to see.
oversight is though, FTD, is the fact that Sombra isn't the biggest damage dealer, no. But you play her very
She's
much for her
a team.
utility. It's
She's a
her utility,
team-based hero.
yeah. Because she's very good at scouting for the double bubble dive, you know, actually getting the dive in. She's
Setting
very
up.
good at scouting. She's very good at setting up. She's got an extremely powerful ultimate. The only reason she hasn't been meta in other sort of setups in other comps is the fact that you've had so much CC and so many other heroes with higher damage potential. But out here in the sort of double bubble, it's not about the damage, it's about the focus fire.
Oh, and we're seeing from the Sandwich Academy here, we're starting to see something I despise myself because it's Roadhog, but they're running the competitive meta composition here. Weirdo, of course, on
I
Genji.
I don't know how I feel about the Genji or the Junkrat picks. You know,
Ah,
like we've
yeah.
been saying, you know, Sombra and Tracer are both very capable. Genji does slot in there along with an Echo. Hit scans, generally, you can play most of them, so I'm quite alright
Yeah.
to Kree in the Ash, but Genji and Junkrat, they're interesting
Brain,
variants.
Brainstorm definitely have a worked comp here. You can see that they know what they want to do. We're currently seeing Weirdos starting on the flank here, looking to go around them from the looks. Like,
Mm.
just
The only
looking for.
problem is, though, if he wants to go for the dive potential, he's doing it alone because he's got no dive
Oh,
follow-up, so he's
dash.
isolating himself.
First dash going in, Weirdo getting jumped by the monkey here.
This is where you want to start seeing the counter
Right.
punish from the hog here, but there's
Yeah,
not
the
enough
hog-
focus fire.
There's no focus fire, but they're playing a more defensive-based composition, trying to get that pick from looks. Winston jumping straight to point here. They're Brainstorm taking a point directly here. Very early into the fight, they have taken this point. It is theirs. This does not
See,
look
that's
good for
the
Sandwich.
problem with the hog comp, is that you're playing for the hook, and unless he gets a hook, you know, there's no value in it.
There's no value. And
But
we're
did see
seeing
an early
Shappy
pick.
getting a pick on the top. Oh, and that's an Ash pick onto the Ash. Another pick from the hog hook. Jurian deciding he does not want this enemy team on its point, killing 3. And that is the end.
Now you see that you've got the red team over here with 20%. That's a full fight worth of percentage here. So Brainstorm have 20% on the point already, which is crucial. And you're seeing the Sandwich Academy actually having a good autonomy. They're gonna have the Nano Blade coming up for this fight, which should
The
hopefully
prime
win
combo
the
here
fight
is
for
going to
them.
be the Nano. They're looking for the Nano Blade. Oh, here comes the Nano. Nano Blade going in, killing the Lucio, killing 3. Oh my god.
You
4 kills
couldn't
coming in
want-
from Weirdo.
You couldn't want a better performance than that, could you?
Ah, yeah.
I mean, the only problem
a-
I have with that is the fact that they used a whole hog on top of that, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, Brainstorm were unable to get the sound barrier out in time to save anyone.
They've wasted their sound barrier here. Now Brainstorm are in a very bad position.
Sandwich Academy on the
Hook
front
coming in.
and the early
First
peak.
pick going for Clearpack. Clearpack killing the Lucio fan. This is looking. Grab coming in from Strapping. And that is just the end for them.
Anthony, I don't know if you saw that, but that was a solid 3-man anti
Very.
in that grab. shutting out any possibility of sustaining the team there. And now they're struggling to kill an Ana, which is quite ironic seeing as they're demolishing these team
They are
fights.
demolishing them. Clearly we're seeing Academy here have definitely they're showing that they know they want this point. They want to show who's boss here.
The problem with BrainStorm is they're playing too defensive.
The Winston angry. Weirdo going down to the Ash here. And that's another pick coming in from BrainStorm onto Jurian by the Lucio. This is looking pretty good.
Finally doing what they've
Killing
been
the
wanting to do all
Junkrat.
match.
But is it going to be enough, Kirk? This is not looking good even now.
It could
The
go
Hog getting a
either
hook on.
way.
This could go either way. Hog coming out from Kipak. That's two people that are 1 hour 1 HP. Nano going on to Kipak as well.
They're gonna get a 99% at least. They're gonna get a minimum of 90%.
They're getting this fine. They're getting this now. This is looking very bad. And that's all the picks coming in from Weirdo and Jurian. And that is the first fight for the Sandwich Academy.
You couldn't ask for anything more from the Sandwich Academy, but from the
Definitely.
side of BrainStorm, I feel like they're really sort of missing out on the aggressive side. They're playing awfully passive and in the poke phase for too long, which means that they're not getting into the actual, like, you know, mid fight. They want to be in the brawl section, right? They don't want to be in the poke. They don't have enough poke for it. They want to be getting the Winston into the
Definitely.
fight and starting to fight. Because, you know, if you're not isolating a target and focus firing it, that composition just doesn't work, and that's why the Hog works so efficiently there.
The fact is here definitely in this team, for example, in the tournament, in the match before, this wouldn't have been as much of an issue, but the communications isn't as good in the lower ranks, and it hurts the dive. The dive composition works so well because of communication.
Yeah, it's heavily
What we're
dependent
seeing
on it,
here
and
is
we're seeing.
we're seeing a brawl comp with a Zen here, very interesting, and a May. This is very interesting indeed. Moomis getting the first pick onto the Zarya very early. This is bad. This is bad. Kipak getting the pick onto the Winston. Oh.
I mean, the Sandwich Academy
winning
are
through.
running off meta, but because they're performing it
they're
efficiently
very well.
and as it's supposed to be ran, you know, they're finding the value of it.
They know how they want to run their comp.
Exactly, they're hitting these May walls and they're actually hitting the focus fire with the Discord orb, which allows them to actually get these early picks in these fights. And they've forced BrainStorm off of their double bubble and onto a double shield setup.
Double
Sigma
shield.
Ryan.
And as
I don't know how I
you
feel
know,
about that. I don't know how I feel about that. I think honestly, Sandwich Academy has the advantage here just with their composition lineup, especially with the May.
Kipak. It's Kipak looking for that sneaky shatter right here. Kipak holding that front line down. Even double jump. The Ryan going down. There goes the McCray. This is looking bad. Shappy unfortunately getting taken down. But the rest of them, just the Sandwich Academy, are just saying no to them.
Sandwich Academy is being very good with their ultimates as well here. They're not overusing, which is what I love to see. You know, they've overused only one ultimate, which I would say is when they use the Nano Blade. They've got their mate playing quite aggressive here, ready for an early wall to try and focus fire. Hopefully the Reinhardt, and then they're able to get a shatter, but they're not noticing the high ground rotation. This could be, you know, quite detrimental to the May.
I feel like also the ult economy here by Sandwich Academy is much more powerful. Like, you can see the ultimate
they've won the first two fights quite dominantly.
They've won 2 fights, and it's making them so good. Kipak might be looking for a Shari. 2 picks coming, Shappy taking down the Rhine. Zenyatta taking down Lucio there. This is really good gameplay. Jurian headshotting the McCree. Jurian just killing to that fight.
I would not like to be BrainStorm, I'll tell you that.
BrainStorm are not liking this match here. They are not liking these DPS.
Like, I think the problem comes from the fact that Sandwich Artists, you know, the Academy team, they've got so much, they got such a big ult advantage. So every time they're coming into that fight, BrainStorm are having to fight their way into.
Oh, we're looking for a sneaky Mayo. That's a big Mayo there. That's High Noon coming out. That's 2 picks. Kipak taking down Ryan. Jurian taking down Genji. Oh yeah. We're seeing just how powerful. Nano going onto the right here. Reinhardt not too sure who to target, but just taking down the Lucio, and that seems to be the first match going for the Sandwich Academy.
The Sandwich Academy just seems so dominant there in every aspect, if you ask me. Their team compositions, they walked out of spawn with a strong composition, knowing how to play it and knowing exactly who they should be playing, and they all know what their individual roles should be.
Oh, and we're gonna see that Blade again from Weirdo. What happened here, Kurt? What did he do to
He
them?
just got the Lucio early with the slash dash,
got
and
him
that's all
so
he needed
early.
to do. As soon as he got rid of that sound barrier as a threat, that becomes a free blade for the rest. And he had another 5 seconds.
And we've seen Weirdo, like you can see Weirdo as well. With that legendary with his 67% kill participation here, we can see that his
it was a
damage
dominant.
numbers is very, very like
Just
that's
like
a
you're
DPS
saying,
player.
FDD, we had that very dominant Genji gameplay. I'd like to see the BrainStorm team start to like counterplay it. I mean, they're trying to run this double bubble situation, which should, in theory, just
They're
prevent Genji from existing. But they're not playing it
Genji.
properly, and they're not playing it aggressively enough. So you're seeing not enough communication coming out from that team. I don't know what the communication, the comms are, but they're not quite there, if you ask me.
I feel like from my team's experience as well, because we've been recently experimenting with this new meta of Winston Zarya, and what I feel like is that here BrainStorm didn't really know what to target. They knew they had what the composition of the Academy here was, but they just never targeted anyone. They were just like trying to prepare their punch, but they just wouldn't ever punch, and it was definitely hurting them.
Yeah, understandable. So I just don't quite know. BrainStorm, if they're running this double bubble situation, they really need to start trying to like they need to prevent the Ana from getting any healing into the Reinhardt, and that's when they need to then punish the Reinhardt, because you'll have an extreme lack of healing. And it looks like we're going to be going into King's Row now.
King's Row, very interesting. So Kirk, as you've seen by the Sandwich Academy here, I feel like they know how to run a brawl, but I don't know about BrainStorm. What are they going to do? Are they going to try and mirror and play brawl themselves, or would you try and a Winston Zarya here?
I would personally, I think a brawl situation is probably going to be quite dominant, especially in lower ranks, because to run the meta at the appropriate level, especially something like dive, you need a little bit of game knowledge of how to actually play it. And that's where the lower teams sort of struggle with them. So they quite like to default team compositions such as Brawl. And that's where Brawl becomes quite strong. It's quite easy to play. It's very effective, and it gets you the value you need. You know what I mean?
Okay, on attack here, would you, as you know, historically this map's known to be a very good Widow first pick map. Would you say that the Widow here would work really well? Because, for example, Jurian is definitely a very good Widow player. I've seen him in game. Do you think he's going to go onto the Widow, or is he going to swap otherwise?
Well, it's always good to try it for a pick. Most teams don't peak, but it comes down to like what we're wanting. Because if you want to play with the Widow, it just means that you've got one less brawl element, if you know what I mean.
How much if the Widow kills something here, would it? If the Widow is there, is that going to scare the enemy team? Is what I'm thinking. Oh
no. I personally think in a brawl situation, if she gets the pick, that's brilliant. She should then swap onto the brawl and just completely dominate and try and snowball.
And we're saying
sticking onto the Widow, it's like extremely high risk, and I don't know if it's got enough value to it. It obviously depends on the confidence and on the players.
Oh, so Kirk, what I'm seeing here is the Sandwich Academy are running the exact same composition as last game. They're running the Mercy instead of running the Zen. They're running the Mercy. Do you think that's the pocket the Ash here?
It could pocket either of the DPS, because you can give the Genji a damage boost in the Nano Blade, and that becomes a one slice, which makes it easier to kill the Lucio. It also one slices the Mei and the Kree, and it makes it really easy to kill the tanks as well. So I mean, obviously that becomes a really easy element. They aren't really playing for the brawl aspect. I would like to see maybe a Lucio, because without it, it means that their tanks become very vulnerable. But that's sort of where the BrainStorm are going to have their only advantage.
And we're seeing here from BrainStorm, Kirk, we're seeing the Mei McCree come out. I remember this composition running in quite a long time ago, this used to be the best composition for King's Row.
And
Oh my god, the anti-nade going in!
Oh,
Oh my god, that is a very big anti-nade coming out from Tin Horn here. The fire going out. Kipak unfortunately fall into the McCree here. This could be very dangerous here for the Sandwich Academy.
that anti-nade was exactly what we wanted.
That was a very big fire strike deflect there by Weirdo. And we're seeing BrainStorm pushing, walling off the Zarya. Weirdo getting the pick onto the Rhine. Chappie going down to the McCree. And already a Moira ultimate coming out here. Very, very early. The Rhine's coming back though. Is he going to push this? No. The Rhine's going to back out. They are going to jump ship hit. Tin Horn getting the pick onto Lucio. And is this going to look like a recontest go? They are recontesting this. They're going to fight for the end. Academy do not want to lose this point. Clearly, Weirdo going to pick onto the McCree. Oh
I mean, if you're alive, you might as well recontest it, or
just
you
fight
for the
it.
early hold. But you know, it's more beneficial if you're actually playing.
Shatter going out from Chappie in. That's 3. Kipak, that's 4 shattered, and that is just the end.
That was an extremely good recontest from the Sandwich Academy. I mean, that was so good with the Nano and the Valk and the Blade. It all came together. It seems like a slight overuse in ultimate, but if you think about it, you're going to use a Bob early next fight, or you're going to use the Grab to farm more ults. It'll probably even out unless BrainStorm used the advantage they have with their ultimate.
You know what scares me here, Kirk? It's the fact that Juta definitely has his May ultimate here, and that thing is dangerous. That can end an entire team's career. We're seeing the Graviton coming out from Chappie. We're going to pick Kipak falling. High Noon coming out from Tanjiro. Another Coalescence coming out. Massive grenade and a boot. Oh my god. What was that?
It's almost as if they're listening in to our communication, FDD. I mean, they're literally saying everything that they're doing everything that I'm saying to just such perfection. And because they've used these ultimates so early, they've been able to use you know, they've been able to farm these ultimates. They've been able to farm these key ultimates to get them back online. The Blade's almost online. They're gonna have that again for this fight.
They're gonna have that Nano soon from the looks as well. You guys can have a shot. I think that this fight, the Mayo's gonna come out, and so is the Shatter. Doing get a very early pick onto the right. The Blade coming out from Weirdo without a Nano though. Killing 1, killing 2, killing 2, killing 3 from Weirdo there. So.
That's everything. That's all I need. They're gonna have the Nano. They're gonna have the Nano for the Rhine for the next fight.
And we're
you need to see BrainStorm use this.
Use their ultimate.
The Blizzard.
They've had this Lucio and this May ultimate for 3 fights now. They need to start. They need to like actually press Q a couple of times here, clearly. And
they're just holding on to these ultimates. If they hold on to it, they're never going to win the fight. They need to throw it in and try and kill the Reinhardt.
Here comes the beat. Here comes the Mayo. Here comes the Shatter. Shatter doesn't get much value from Kipak here, but this is not looking good.
They all just play on point.
Oh, they're playing the point here, and that's Academy. Tin Horn touches the point. Weirdo and Chappie though going to town on Blitz.
FDD, all they had to do was shoot the Anna, and they would have capped the point.
They would have capped, but they just forgot about her. Anna just went sneaky in there and just saved the game clearly for
Anna. The awareness there from Tin Horn was saved.
Weirdo pulling out the blade. Bubbles coming out though. That's 2, and that's the end. 4. That is the end of the defense for the Sandwich Academy.
Are playing too defensive. They've got this lovely rush composition, and they've got the ult advantage, and they put themselves on the back foot by playing extremely slow. If they hard commit to point with a wall and speed boost, they are going to win the fight. I could tell you that for free, FDD. They'd be winning every single fight if they just went and committed on point.
Kirk, what I'm feeling like is that they're scared. They're scared to use their ultimates here. They're not using anything. They see someone get picked off and they just back out. That like they don't even try to fight them, even if they're missing one person.
I mean,
if you ask me, it's not the best idea.
If you're Titans, you know, if you're down 1, if that person didn't have a crucial ultimate, I mean, when you're still running a Blizzard in your hand, you know what I mean?
They've had the Blizzard all this time and just never used it. They used it once the entire match, even though they could have easily.
It's such a good ultimate as well, because if you just drop your wall behind the Reinhardt and throw your Blizzard in, you know, all you have to do is wait for the bubble. All you have to do is wait for the friendly bubble. The Rein's frozen, and that's a free fight because he's dead. If
And
if
like
the Reinhardt's dead in these compositions, they're missing the key element of
they're
the whole.
missing the brawl of the brawl.
They're
And what we're
missing the
seeing,
brawl. That's
what
exactly
I'm
what I was
saying,
trying to say.
from BrainStorm here is a very weird composition. They're trying to run. They're running like a brawl style composition, but they're running a
They're running
Sigma
a
with
high
it.
sustain. I think they're trying to play this high sustain brawl.
Are they trying to
Um,
maybe keep away from Weirdo's Genji? Maybe that could be what they're trying to look for.
the
And
immortality
Tyrion trying
field
to
is
get the
not
Widow.
an advice strategy, though, if you ask me.
The immortality will clearly not keep a Genji like Weirdo at bay here. And we're
Especially
seeing
if you
Weirdo on the
draft
early
late.
flank. Tin Hawk going down very early though. Weirdo is not in a good spot. Kipak looking to try and escape here because this is not good. He can't shield his team here, and he's unable to do anything here. Brian,
I mean, the front foot is in the favor of BrainStorm at the moment, but now the Sandwich
Now the
Academy
fight.
have all their respawns and they're going to re-engage into the
Oh
backline.
no, that's. But like, we're seeing they're attacking anyway, even without ultimates. They just won without any They didn't use any ultimates. 5v6. Like they killed 4 that fight there. And just look, Jurin hit a shot in and just
it comes down to
flushes
the
it.
actual intent. Like, the Sandwich artist intended to start that fight and follow through. I mean, the Genji dying, it's not a key element. If you're missing your Reinhardt, that's
Are they
when you
looking
make
for a
the mistake.
recontest here? Could they
have
try
to,
and...
FPD. If they can't
They
recontest,
have to,
then
but I don't think they're going to have time, Kurt. And that is just a loss there. A second map victory for Sandwich Academy there. And if you ask me, Kurt, like this is a perfect example of 2 complete opposite teams. One of them isn't scared of pushing, yet the other one is just scared of pushing at all. And we're seeing another play from Weirdo here. Weirdo clearly cleaning up that play of the game where he's trying to get a highlight reel.
Genji is just getting a lot of value, but it's getting so much value, but it shouldn't be getting value, if you know what I mean.
Oh my god! And we're seeing Weirdo here. Weirdo has just not didn't die.
It just doesn't die.
He just didn't die at all. He died once the entire match, and that was when.
I want to see this double bubble getting played and getting performed properly because it is such a good composition.
Powerful comp.
But it does come down to team's performance of it, because if you do misplay any element of it, it becomes extremely weak and you don't get the value from it.
Yeah, indeed.
So,
like the
I don't
problem is
know.
the double bubble here, especially at these lower ranks, like this this is around a 2,500 SR play match here. And like what I'm seeing is, and this is after my experience myself, like even at 2,700, I can't run this. I can't run a good double bubble as instead. Like I've seen people playing Overwatch League, but it's just not very easy to run at these low reloads where the communication just isn't there.
It does come down to your main tank and your DPS. They're the 2 that need to be very vocal in this composition. Ideally, everyone is vocal, but they're the 2 most important.
They're the
Because
main piece of the puzzle.
your DPS, they're going to be scouting, and then you're going to have your tank obviously calling the final play or whatever. So, that's sort of what we need to be seeing. We need to sort of see either the double bubble being played, or from BrainStorm, I think they just need to strip it back to basics and start actually playing the game.
I'm feeling like as well. This is very interesting because, for example, Brainstorm is clearly very. They know what they're doing. They've played as a team before, but they're just not really like they're not committed. If they lose one of their, it's like a puzzle. If they lose one piece of it, they're not going to do anything. They're just going to leave it. And
Yeah, it's not. They're not playing as advised or to the strengths of the teams. They're playing these great team comps. Their team comps they're running out with are good, but they're just not. They're not performing it, and that's where their flaws are coming through. Like, they have that Blizzard, and they hold it
they
for
just
3
didn't use
fights.
it. They
They
don't
held it for
use
3 fights.
ultimates.
So that's sort of where they're getting punished. They need to really be. We need to be seeing them
We need
proactively
to
using
see them
ultimates.
push. We need to see
'Cause
them
if they're
like
not
actually,
if
as
they're
you
not
said, Karen.
proactive, then we're gonna start to see more problems like this.
Like I feel like the problem fundamentally is their ultimate usage and the fact they don't use any. Like as anyone that's played Overwatch will know that if you put 6 ultimates in a fight, there's little chance you lose. But the
They
thing
have to
is,
be
Sandwich
performed
Academy
properly,
are
though.
rotating so many ultimates so fast compared to BrainStorm that they're able to just win the fights on 1 or 2 ultimates, and BrainStorm just aren't using 1 or 2 to counter. They need to start using their ultimates proactively instead of just
Yep.
using them using them.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, that's definitely the strength of the Sandwich Academy. They're actually being proactive and they're actually playing for the space and the
they're
ultimate fights. Whereas, like we're saying, the Brainstorm are just playing so defensive and slow. And we're going to be moving on to
to Numbani.
Numbani.
Now this map is going to be very, very. I feel like this is going to be a very one-sided map for Brainstorm because Sandwich Academy are using these Brawl Star compositions, but are they going to work on a map where Dive is probably one of the most powerful compositions on it, especially on the first point where the defense is like there's a lot of high grounds on this map, Kirkus. You know,
Well, as we've been seeing the Brainstorm. We've seen Brainstorm actually walking out with the double bubble, so maybe they're actually really confident on the double bubble, but they've just sort of been getting shut out by
but
the
just
Sandwich Academy actually just playing well. But
they're playing
maybe in a dive preferred map, they'll
they might
actually perform it. So
like
it'd be interesting to see what's happening.
especially Kirkus, as you've seen on the Pulse Sanctum, for example, they weren't looking. They couldn't actually push because, in my experience, the dive composition like this. Okay, good. Let's finish. Like we need to you need to think of it like this, guy. This is a high grounds map. This is going to be a very
Yeah.
strong map for them, I think, because they're going to be able to get their pushes going and everything.
I would like to see Brainstorm come out of their shells and start to play more proactive. Because if they keep playing this defensive, whatever they're playing, because everything they've played extremely defensive. Even in a rushdown brawl situation, that's literally the one composition where you have to play aggressive just to get any form of value. And they just keep playing too defensive, in my opinion. So if we start to see a bit more proactive, we can actually see what their DPS are capable of and how their tanks actually play. Because if their tanks are playing in good positions and playing proactive enough, then we will start to see the DPS shine a little bit more, as well
Mm.
as like our Zarya is getting some good value. Tinhorn,
Here,
he's been hitting some fat nades.
them
Like
nades, them anti nades that he's been hitting all this,
I've s-
the entire game, he's been just carrying with these anti nades there. Just anti 1 or 2 is already big, but he is anti 4 or 5 at times, as we saw last map. He antied an entire team at one point, just randomly, and
Yeah,
it's what
and
makes him
that's the
better.
strength of Anna. That's why Anna is the current meta hero. And we are going to go into a small break just
Right?
before we jump into map 3 here.
Yeah. We shall see you then.
We'll see
And we're
Alrighty, and we are
and we're
back from the
back.
break,
Back
and we're
back
going
to
into Nbani.
and we're
Like we're
back
saying, dive dominant. We should be seeing some dive coming through, hopefully from both
definitely.
teams. At least on point one. Point one is so high orientated. I'd be upset if I saw no dive.
I feel like
How
it's
about
gonna
you,
be a
FPD?
dive. I feel like definitely there's gonna be dive coming out from possibly both teams. I'm hoping also that my academy also try and play dive because they haven't really found out what's been working in the current meta because we haven't really recently had any scrims with them. So I'm hoping that
Right.
their coach gives them the info on how to play it and when to play it, especially on this map because this is
Yeah,
a
it
big map
really
for
it
them.
really does come down to awareness of the composition. Because if you don't know how to play it, then you're gonna find you're not getting enough value. And if you're not getting enough value, you could be playing something else.
Yeah, of course. This is
So
where that's where like the line draws, especially these lower tier matches, is that you can if you run a composition better, even if it's not very optimized, you need to be able to you need to be able to have the best composition that works the best for you. It's
yeah,
not about which one works the best on that map.
right,
And we're moving into Nimbani here.
right, and we're in, and I'm not saying these are final compositions.
I'm
I
hoping so myself with Weirdo on the
a
Bastion here.
Bastion defense with a double bubble.
Yeah, yeah. This is gonna.
Not what I would call
This
ideal,
is
at least.
And like we're seeing from BrainStorm, this is a very weird composition code. They're running Sigma Diva? What is this? Are they trying to run a singular shield with their Ash with maybe? And then like having
Sigma Diva. Ugh,
I feel like maybe the Diva and the Genji might dive together and only them.
I just don't feel like Diva provides the same effect that a Winston provides.
Oh, yeah.
Winston can break a whole line of sight from supports, and
Yeah.
we're actually
feel like-
seeing this Bastion maybe coming out.
I'm gonna die that
I'd
one.
love to see it.
Oh, maybe
Double
it's
bubble.
possible.
Double
No,
bubble
we're
Genji.
seeing the Genji. We're seeing the Genji. Double bubble Genji. I like this guy. I don't know
We're
about
seeing the
you.
win
It's gonna be
conditions
some
coming
good
through. You got
Overwatch.
the Ash with the pocket, which can just win any fight if she hits a headshot. And we're seeing the Nano
headshot.
Blade. And that's what we want to see.
The only
Coming
issue
from
I feel like,
Brainstorm have the Damage Boost Blade, which does a similar thing. But it just doesn't have the same sharpness as
and we're seeing
I remember.
Genji and Diva in their backline, in Academy's backline. Like they're just there, but they're getting jumped, and that's the Genji falling very early. Diva coming out of the mecha, and that's already 2 picks for the Sandwich Academy
That's
here.
the counter
Yeah,
dive
that
that you're
is-
sort of looking for at this situation.
This is bad for them. The Winston jumping onto the back pair. Back team's trying to jump away, just not able to hop away from the opposing team. Tinon getting a pick onto the back row, and Julian killing 2 this fight.
much
Shappy
as
just
I was
jumping
saying-
around.
As much as I'll say play more reactive,
They might have gone a
proactive,
bit too proactive here, if you ask me.
they might have jumped the gun there. I mean, at the end of the day, they are still defending, and they weren't.
Yeah, they shouldn't have been in their
They
back
weren't
line.
engaging on a backline which was left alone. They're engaging on a full team of 6, and that was
They
their
timed
problem there.
I feel like what happened to BrainStorm here with their Diva and their Genjis, they tried jumping, but didn't quite know that the others were there still. I feel like they didn't quite have they didn't have the knowledge of where the rest of the team was, and tried jumping the Ash
And
randomly.
that's where scouting comes
That's
in.
a shot going into the back here. Julian killing, just wiping the floor. The
This
DPS
team roll
there.
coming out from Sandwich Academy.
Julian set another pick onto the Mercy here. This
It's
is
just
this
clean
is
up from here,
violent.
FPD. I want to see the
Julian
monkey
killing
jump in.
Sigma, killing the buff as well. That's 3 picks already. This is mad. And that is
What a carry.
we're
What a
seeing the DPS are definitely carrying this match almost. I'd say. Like this is I wouldn't like to say DPS difference, but there is a difference in
We're now looking at a
the
massive
strength
ultimate
of
advantage for
players.
the Sandwich Academy, and we've seen how proactive they can be with their
And
ultimate. We're going to see this Nano Blade coming out on this fight, I reckon. Securing the fight with the Winston dropping from the high ground, which is a lovely position from him.
and we're seeing
And there
that's
was
the
not
point
even a
going down.
contest. There was
5
no
minutes
contest.
40 on them, Barney Kirk. What is this?
What
Are
the
they
biggest
going for the
thing
world
I
record?
can-
Are they going for the world record of
They
how long?
swapped No, FDD, Brainstorm have swapped the double shield. I don't think they've read the patch notes. They've not read the patch notes, FDD.
They don't know.
The
Someone
Nanoblade is
give
going to
them.
come out. We're seeing this right now.
Nanoblade coming out now. Nanoblade. The Immortality coming very early here. But Weirdo gets to pick onto the Mercy. Then gets to pick onto the Sigma as well. And that is just. Oh, and that was a deflect.
And this payload hasn't stopped moving, FDD. I don't even think that Brainstorm have contested the point.
If you ask me, Jurian's Bob is the MVP. He just popped Bob in there, backline, killed 3, and there's not even a contest. 4 minutes 57 on Numbani, Kirk. What is this?
The problem I had with Brainstorm there was, as much as they gave up second point, they should have played much more aggressive on holding third. They should have played that corner really aggressive. Therefore, if they lost a fight, they would have been able to actually recontest. But because they gave so much space and allowed the cart to keep moving, they weren't able to recontest that, which meant they were absolutely obliterated with an extremely big time bank of just under 5 minutes.
I feel like the issue here fundamentally for Brainstorm here is these guys were trying to run a monkey Zarya, and I would even run that composition on defense, but they're trying to run compositions that don't work anymore, Kirk. Double shield, due to the recent Overwatch patch, is basically rendered useless.
Sigma is still actually quite good.
Sigma is still very powerful.
But it's the Orisa element that becomes very... She's no longer good at what she does, and what she does is she pulls.
It's very limited. And she's not good at what she does. Even if you spend the time to learn how the pull works now, they wouldn't just get the value out of it, clearly. And especially as you said, playing aggressive here would on the third point was that they had to do it, and they just stuck to a very passive comp, and I feel like that just was their downfall. And this is looking...
I mean, from me, the Sandwich Academy, they didn't even... I don't feel like they had to do a lot in the tank line to make space. There's always space for the DPS, which is quite nice, but it doesn't allow...
that's a shotgun Duta getting revenge on Jurian.
The only thing is, though, we're not seeing any good tank gameplay because they're not actually having...
They're not really... It's the DPS, it's the damage dealers here that both Jurian and Weirdo here definitely carrying this match. Winston trying to attack the Ana, but just... Why is the Winston jumping on his own here? He won't get any value. It's where... This is where Brainstorm have kind of not understood how their composition should work here, I think. Because they're not running anything to dive with the Winston. The Winston is just jumping in on his own. Maybe charge the only real value from that is to charge the Zarya and maybe annoy the Ana. And that's a shot going out from June onto Ruby very early in the fight. Rest coming out from not Raw, but
I mean,
that's already a res. That's already a resurrection.
Already starting to start.
Oh yes, of course. You
can't have this. I mean, Brainstorm, they have to be. They've got to be farming these ultimates. Otherwise, they're going to be on the back foot all game.
And you can see, like, wait, that's a massive anti-nade coming out from Tinhorn. That's 3 anti-naded there. And Wither just goes to town in the back line. Just decided, nope, you guys are out of my fight, get out of here.
I mean, if we look at the ult,
Jurian's killed 3 as well.
FDD, we're seeing Jurian with practically a bulb, which is 25% more than Brainstorm. We're seeing Chappy with, you know, a primal, that's 20% more. You know, we're seeing Weirdo with a blade, that's 60% more than his counterpart, which is the Reaper.
Like,
the ultimates are heavily in the favor of Sandwich Academy, and they're just probably gonna nanoblade this fight when Tinhorn eventually gets it.
And I'm feeling like as well here in this occasion. I feel like that's a pick going out from Jun. Like, why is the Winston position down here? And the nanoblade coming out very early. Now he's gonna get some damage. That's killing 2. Both tanks going down. 2 Weirdo's big sword. And now the Mercy's alone here, and just this is what I'm seeing. What I feel like is happening here, Kirk, is Weirdo is like a Reinhardt. He's playing his Genji like a Rein. He's trying to take the space away to let his other DPS counterpart Jurian just.
I feel like a big problem for Brainstorm though, FD, is the fact they keep going into this high ground. They need to be going through main I'm trying to find a dive onto the
And then
Sana with a proper dive. But they're not committing any resources into a dive, and they're
They're
playing
only
a very
committing-
split comp.
The
Like,
pro-
their comp
another
should be
problem I
playing
have.
the dive and stopping the Sana from actually getting it.
Kipback going down. Kipback getting the pick onto Ruby very early here, and that is not sounding good. Winter going down to Ash though. The both monkeys are very angry here, and we're seeing the Zarya backed into a wall by Shinstill, and that's another pick coming out from Jurin in their back line at this point, and that's due to taking him back down. He does
We might
not
see
like
BrainStorm
people in
actually
talent.
taking the objective here.
I'm not
They use
sure.
the ultimates proactively.
Because
They've
if
got
you
the
look,
Death Blossom
Kipback,
and the Bob. You can throw Bob on point, bait the sleep out. You know, Bubble is a Bob.
but
I mean,
also, okay, what we're seeing is that here they've got the Graviton. They just use the Graviton and they just tend to win the fight. The Reaper coming very fast, getting a pick onto Moomis. Kipback getting a pick onto Jincho here. The Graviton coming out from Kipback.
and it was a panic
three in
ultimate
a
rather
row.
than one
Panic.
sites
And AO and BrainStorm are using all their ultimates. All their ultimates have come out.
BrainStorm
Like-
capping the point. This is the furthest they have got in a game so far. They've actually
But-
managed to cap the objective, and they're starting to progress into point 2. This is better, but
I
it's not
feel like
ideal.
the issue is as well, quickly cut, is that look how many ultimates BrainStorm have used here. They only have halfway to a Mercy ultimate here and a Primal. And what I'm seeing is that Widow has his blade soon, and Tino's gonna have that Nano. That's just gonna
I
be an
mean-
instant fight.
From BrainStorm, you've got to use your ult to win the fight. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you're gonna hold them for the next game, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
If you
of
need
course.
it to win the fight, then you've got to use it. But I just feel like it's not. It's not.
The
a
ult
fun-
economy, the ultimate economy here is definitely very one-sided towards
It has
Sandwich
been
Academy.
since first fight FTD.
It's
been
always-
since first.
It's the issue here with BrainStorm is they're not getting, as you've said countless times now, okay? The ultimates just aren't coming through, and that's a headshot onto the Reaper by Jurian here. Tanjiro going down very
you
early.
can't farm ult charge when you're
Yes.
in the spawn room FTD. You just
Oh,
can't.
indeed. And Jurian sending them to that spawn room. The Nanoblade coming out in the backline. Widow getting a pick onto the Ash there. Going for the Zarya. Gets the Zarya. That's 2. Is he going to get down that Mercy? That Mercy going to spawn would finish the fight for him. And unfortunately, he goes down for it. But that's
he
not
doesn't
the
get
issue.
res. That's
He's
fine.
got a
That's not a
mercy.
problem.
But I don't think he's going to escape this cut. I feel like he's in a bad spot. But his team just saves him. Saves him with the resurrection,
What I
with
really
the
want to
bubbles,
see
with the support.
from what I want to see from BrainStorm is I want to see him play really aggressive and cut off the
Oh.
healing lanes.
He's
So
calm,
far, he's
he's
not
up.
playing aggressive enough.
He's looking for a jump, I feel like, with his rage here. He's gonna have his primal rage. And one angry monkey in the back line is a monkey you don't like in your back line. And what we're seeing here is that the rage coming out very early by Chinchil here. Targeting their back line. Tanjiro getting a pick onto Chappie here. Really good pick. Window coming out. But no one's
That's
really
the power of
abusing
a
the
Reaper
window.
though, FDD. I mean, they picked the Reaper
Just
to
puts the
counter.
monkey down. And that's a bug coming out from Julian, killing 2. Winner getting a pick onto not roll. Julian's almost killed 3 once again.
These
The
grabs
blade.
haven't been very good, if you ask me, but I mean,
Oh,
they
no.
haven't had to be good. They
They
haven't
don't
had
need
to
to
be
be.
good.
I feel like Weirdo used his ultimate as a bit. I feel like Weirdo has messed his own team up here by using the blade, thinking he would need it, and that might cost them the entire fight. But no, that is the first and final map for the Sandwich Academy.
I mean, that was quite a clean steamroll. After first map, I probably would have said that, you know, the Sandwich Academy would have won. But,
And
you know,
another play of the game
you've
by
seen
Weirdo.
stranger things.
Weirdo
Genji
is
is a Blade bot, and
Oh,
Blade's
he
here to
is.
play the game.
And we can see, Kurt, that this blade bot here is just ending them. He does not like the enemy team.
All you have to do is actually get 1 kill with your Blade, and you've won the fight. So, you know, we really want to start. I just wanted to see BrainStorm. I think the problem came from the Winston not quite playing his role right,
And
and
Winston-
because he wasn't playing his role right, he wasn't giving just enough space for his DPS.
It's-
I do think
it-
there was a DPS difference though, FTD. I do think
Oh,
that.
indeed, definitely. Both the DPS are definitely both here. Weirdo and Turin were definitely really much better than I wouldn't. I'd say they were better than BrainStorm, but also you got to take into account if, for example, they countered Weirdo, they would have had one of them DPS out of the game here, and that might have. I think they should have tried countering their DPS more instead of running these. They're running these meta compositions, trying to jump the healers, but when they jump the healers, the DPS are just saying no and just killing you off, sending you right back to them that 10-second respawn.
What we need to be seeing from the Winston though is we need to see him playing aggressive enough to shut down the Ana by one, baiting cooldowns, and two, actually physically stopping her from healing. You know, if
Oh, and
she can heal through the bubbles, and that's where we're not seeing the value. Is we're not
oh,
seeing the Winston blocking off the Ana's line of sight, because if the Ana's line of sight is still there, you're gonna see, you know, the fight going in favor of whoever has more healing. Because it's such little damage, you know, the Ana healing is actually quite a lot to sustain the team. So, you know, if you're not playing that Winston properly to shut off the angles, then, you know, the punish is coming through.
And like I feel like also what I saw in the match here and from past experience as well is that very Jurian is very, very, very good. I played against him myself and he gave me a run for my money. So he's definitely I wouldn't say he's much better
Doesn't
than
say much
Jurian.
about you though, FTD. You're what, a Diamond
Why?
Peak main tank?
We still I still managed to 3-0 him. It's fine, Coach. Don't worry.
Okay,
And
FTD.
we seem to be going for a goats map, Kirk, and this is an old meta.
Goats. Are we
Goat.
gonna see Brainstorm come into their comfort zone event finally? I don't think
We,
so. I
I
think we're
don't
still gonna see Sandwich Academy with the powerhouse coming through. I
but
mean, we've seen them play more aggressive. We've seen them get more value. We're not seeing, you know, Brainstorm providing anything that a Goats team comp requires to actually function properly. So
I feel, but you got to take into account, Kirk, is that Shurin, if they go goats, Shurin and Weirdo aren't going to be able to play that DPS. That's just definitely more. They definitely better at their DPS counterpart, but how good are they at the tank part? Because
true,
what
because DPS are
happens?
gonna have to rotate onto the
The
tank
DPS are
role.
going to be on the tank role or the support role. I would say probably Jurin might go onto the Zarya. I would see Deuter also on the Zarya because hit scan's very aim dependent. And
Break time.
I would also say probably Weirdo and Tanjiro
Weirdo on the
going on to the support.
Vegeta.
And
uh,
I feel like Weirdo and Tanjiro are going to be on the more support role. So I'd like to see Weirdo on something like a Zenyatta, maybe, just
it would be
because
nice.
the Zenyatta was a very, very strong part of Goats, and Guido is a very loud and active person, so he would be very good in this.
I mean, we need we need
Um,
to sort of see what map where they're playing on, because, you know, if you're seeing like a 2CP like Volskaya, you know, it's very much, you know, you play on the point, and that's what Goats thrives at. It thrives at actually fighting on the objective. So, you know, if we see something like that coming through, that'd be ideal. And we'd
and
start to see the key elements of the actual brawl, because, you know, both teams are forced to actually play on the objective. And I don't know if it's going to be a classic brawl, classic goats, or yeah, goats variants are allowed, but I think we're going into a classic goats
I feel
mirror
like we're
match.
going to go classic Goats is going to be clearly a difference between skill rating. And what map would you like to see on this code? I feel like there's certain maps that are very, very good for Goats.
All right, yeah. So I believe we're going to be seeing a 2CP. So there's not actually a lot of 2CPs now that Lunar Colony and Paris are both out of rotation.
And
So
they would do
there's only
historical.
Hanamura, there's a Temple of Anubis, and Volskaya Industries, and
And
I think they're the only three 2CP maps.
I feel like
So
Volskaya would be a very good map for Goats because it's very flat. Hanamura Hanamura is going to be like a more linear type map, and probably the Temple of Anubis would be a very that's that's a map where they're going to probably have to run a two shield system with the Orisa Pole,
I think that we are
and
going to see the
we're going to see
classic
Hanamura
goats.
occur. We're going to see
Hanamura,
Hanamura.
Hanamura, that's going to be good. So you're going to see quite an aggressive defense as well as a very aggressive attack, as that is what goats thrives at. If you're not engaging, then you're going to be disengaging, and if you're disengaging, you're on the back foot. So it comes down to, how the teams play. Like Goats is very reliant on good target focus and good aggression. If you're not aggressive enough, then you're not going to see any value coming through, and that's sort of where the Ghost thrives. The Ghosts thrive when you start to get really into their Reinhardt, get the Discord Orb on him, get the Brigade Bash on him, and just a bit of Focus Fire. That takes out a Reinhardt in like 0.05 seconds. Like, it's just takes no time at all to kill a Reinhardt with Discord, which is being bashed. And that's
Yeah.
where, I hope to see both teams actually like performing these high burst combos of damage. Ult game for Goats, it's very sort of, obviously if they're going to be running the classic mirror match, then it's not going to be
It's
as
gonna be a
interesting.
very.
Both teams are good. We'll see sort of like who's the better players,
We'll
you
see.
know,
Definitely. I
based off
feel
the
like
ult charges.
it'll be ult. Not so much ult charge. I feel like it's gonna be synergy with the tanks and the supports here. It's a very
Reinhardt is
synergized based map.
definitely Reinhardt is the most important part
If
of
the
it.
Reinhardt plays badly, the entire team's going to play badly, and it's going to just be a chain effect for them.
But then again, you have the Zarya, and if we have the Zarya, then that's what, Zarya with high charge with good aim gives you more grabs. Grabs win fights. Grav bomb,
Yeah,
grav shatter, grav wins, right?
Graph is
If you
the win
can if you can
condition in
farm
Go.
grav faster than the defensive ults as well, that's another free fight.
Oh, and we're starting to see here, Shappy, Kipak, and Moomis, all three on their on tanks. Jurian coming out on the Zen. I just said probably weirdo on Zen because here, if they'd have run the Zen on someone that already knows how to play projectile-based heroes, he might have had a bit less of an issue, even being a one-trick hero, a one-trick type person.
Typically your hit scan goes to Zarya, and your flex/projectile goes on to the break. So this is the classic sort of rotation of how you would have seen it back in the day.
And we're seeing Juta, as you said, Zarya, he's on Zarya, and then you've got Tanjiro on Lucio. So we're seeing the projectile play projectile, and the hit scan play a more aim-based hero like Zarya, where you need to be able to track that your target. Otherwise, you just won't do anything.
I mean, you are required to track the Reinhardt with a Discord orb, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, true.
it's
a lot
big
easier.
enough. He's big enough.
And now Shappy getting a pick onto Lucio very, very early with that first fire strike.
You need to
Oh
be
my, oh my.
really aggressive here, FPD. You need to be pushing.
They need to push in
here and start amp
They need to go.
Get the ult charge. They need the ult charge advantage.
They need this advantage, and they're just not pushing in, even though it's the Ghosts. They should be going right in there. And we're seeing Jincho go right in, getting the pick onto Tinhon. Go at 3, the shatter, getting Furion.
This
Guys,
is what we
get back.
needed to see from
But
BrainStorm.
now we're seeing BrainStorm have understood. They've listened in on our concept. They know what we wanted to see and what needed to be seen. They've done exactly what they needed to do. And the sneaky Lucio going on to point for that extra little bit of contest. He's just sneaking around, and he's going home, and he's all the way back.
Sandwich Academy, they really needed to punish there. As soon as you get a pick, everything is required in Goats for the Goats to actually be effective. You need your Zenyatta for your Discord, you need your Lucio for the speed, you need your Brick for the healing, for the, for the Inspire.
It's a puzzle. It's exactly like a puzzle. You can't push in as 5 with your composition. You can't push in as 5. You push in as 5. And June getting a pick onto the brick there. That's the first pick on him. We're seeing the aggression here. We're not going down though. This is a 5v5. This is anyone's game. The Stride's coming out. The Shatter coming out. Not getting anyone, sadly. But that's still gonna. That Trance just gave that little bit of aggression they were requiring. But why are they playing so split? There's shots coming out for some reason here, okay? I don't quite understand this one. Because why would... And the Shatter coming out onto Shappy, but he's not going to get any value. They think it's winnable. Both Gravitons coming out here. Not all getting a pick, Cheba getting picked, but Moomis and Kipak are just like, no, you are not allowed to win it.
Clean that up. I mean, we've been seeing the Zen from Sandwich Academy actually just destroying. We've seen him get picks. Like, he got a pick on the break first thing that fight. That should be when we see the speed aggression. Commit one ult, farm the rest, and you're at the ult advantage.
And
But
what
we're
I'm
not
saying
seeing
is, look at Shurian's ult charge. He's already at 80%. He's gonna, if he, and Volk's only at 30. So we're seeing a bit of a Zen difference, sadly. And Shurian is definitely getting them ultimates much faster. But also we're seeing the tank difference. By BrainStorm are getting them tank kills. Looks like Shappy is looking for that sneaky shot. That sneaky shot. Sharon 3. And that's 3 kills. 4 kills coming out.
Follow up FTD.
Oh my. Oh my. I haven't seen that one in a while, Kirk.
Alright, so we're gonna see
my.
BrainStorm hopefully playing aggressive with the sound barrier, getting the shatter and using the shatter. That's their win
And they
condition.
need to get that
the
Diva bomb out.
follow up as well.
They need to
Like,
use the
at the
Diva bomb
moment-
to annoy them.
At the moment,
Sure.
Sandwich Academy have 0 ultimates. Right? They've
Oh,
got
yeah.
the Lucio beat
No,
now.
they have the
but
Brig.
it's not
They have
quite
the
enough.
Brig ultimate. They have the Brig ultimate coming soon by Weirdo here, and that might also both support ultimates up. It's a very strong thing to have. 2 support outs out of 3. The shatter coming out. Shatters 2. Ruby coming out though. Jump shatters. Shappy going down to Ruby's bomb here. Jurian kills their Zen. Keep out getting the Rhine down though. This is anyone's game. Brigitte deciding she's the Rhine today and going to kill Jurian.
To CP, but I do think we might see a tick coming out for BrainStorm.
I don't think so, Kurt. I feel like Shappy's just going training in. He's training through. He does not like these people on his point. He's getting them out of it. Off my point, he's saying right now. I'm sure of it. And we're seeing that Shappy's playing more passive, but there's still Window getting the Zarya down here. And the continued aggression. BrainStorm's Ryan taking down Weirdo, but it's so much.
You're gonna have to teach your boys how to play goats properly because
I agree. My guys need to learn this one. Apart from their Diva Bomb Rhine Shatter combos, they've got a lot to learn. Definitely.
You know how to use ultimate.
What is Jurian doing? He's on the flank and he uses his ultimate to run away. Could that be the end?
Decision. It's not the worst decision because, like we were saying, Goats is very much required for everyone to be alive, but he did outposition himself, and that transcendence could be a game changer.
But Riley coming in, Graviton coming out, both Gravitons coming out, the Diva Bomb coming out as well. Not getting anyone. 3 ultimates coming out from BrainStorm here, 2 picks coming out from that. Shinjil and Juta just going to town.
BrainStorm look like they're gonna get some good tickets.
Getting the pick on the Zarya. Is this still? They might get. I feel like they're gonna get a tick, but will they win the fight? Chatter coming out, killing, chattering Tanjiro, finish him off. Very good counter charge by Shinjiro.
At least
surely
a tick.
Surely not. I feel like they're not. They're not getting this. They're not getting this, Coat.
They didn't even get a tick after the
Rhine and the Brig. And they're trying their best, but they're not even on point. They just finished that. The beat getting booped away, getting near no value here, and they just BrainStorm are throwing ultimates away. They threw that Lucy ultimate away, no usage whatsoever.
The only reason that BrainStorm didn't get a single tick there was because they failed to do any form of target focus on the Brig and the Diva on point.
And that's what I feel like we've been seeing the entire game.
That's what we've been seeing all day. That is
all
what
day,
we've
been seeing the lack of comms. The comm difference is definitely there. The Rhine going right in. He doesn't even care. But he's just gonna die doing that. What is wrong with this man? What is wrong with him? He's crazy. The Diva Bomb coming out in the back. Not really getting any usage here.
Not required. It just comes
The
out to target
Graviton,
focus.
the Zenyatta popping trance. Tidal getting the pick onto the Zarya. Shappy chilling off the Brig. Tanjiro getting Weirdo down though. This is some aggression coming out from the Sandwich Academy. But they haven't shown it ever. They haven't seen it. The shot coming out with no value because June's just gonna slap him with an orb.
And that looks like that's gonna be.
They're going to town. They could have gone to spawn here, Kurt. That is the end, if you ask me. They've got ultimates. They've got nothing to worry about. The Graviton coming out, getting no value. And that is round 1 for the Sandwich Academy. 1-0.
FDD. Oh my god. That was
Painful.
That was something else. I don't know if that was good or bad. Watching that, it's enjoyable to watch. Put it that way.
It's enjoyable to watch, but I feel like
it's not clean, but it's enjoyable.
I feel like Chuck, as well, what we saw is that the Academy kind of woke up on the second point and started actually pushing. They did what they needed to push on the
They
first point,
did do what we
and
said that they should
They,
do, and they
I'm
got the
sure.
value from it. But they struggled on point 2. If they started playing more on the objective, they probably would have found more value because, like we're saying, the game is oriented around the objective. But if you leave the likes of like a Zenyatta on the high ground where he can discord whoever he wants, put in as much damage as he wants, that's sort of where we're seeing the advantage coming through from the defender. So you got to take them off the high ground, and you got to do it quickly and cleanly. We saw the fight where they got 5 kills. Actually, it was 4 kills. They got 4 kills.
4
And
kills
they
and just
failed
didn't
to
win.
focus fire the last 2, which meant that the 2 CP spawns were able to come through, and
The
they couldn't get at least
communication-
a tick.
The lack of communication, I feel like, from BrainStorm is going to be their first thing to work after this game, because their lack of communication in every single match we've seen all day is just been lacking, and it's been hurting their performance is definitely good, but they are lacking that communication that they really
I'd
need.
like to see if the Sandwich Academy.
And we're seeing the tin on getting a pit, but that's 2 pits coming back, and that is 3 pits coming in for BrainStorm, and they are just they have understood
BrainStorm are
that.
playing this a lot better than they were on the
Much
first
more
round.
powerful. BrainStorm seemed to like their defense here. They just went to town. They saw the occasion. They jumped on them, just pounced on top, killed them all. End of. And
That's what you want to see, FTD.
that's what you want to see.
They lost the player, so they are gonna be down. I believe it's their break, but she is back now. So
And but the Ryan now we're gonna have to see the aggression coming in.
Sandwich Academy.
The Academy going in. They were walking in, getting the shatter off, but not getting any value from it. But the difference, the shatter coming out from BrainStorm. That's a huge shatter. Oh my! That's some pits coming in from the shatter.
I don't know what more you could want from that. That was so big.
That
and
was
they even
such a
found
fight.
Zenyatta hiding in the room. Oh,
That was
FTD.
that was so bad. That was such a good shot coming in from
Sandwich
Chinchu.
Academy, they've got the grab.
They
This
have
is
the
their
grab
win
on.
condition. This
That
grab,
is their only
maybe
chance
even
here.
Diva bomb. Combo.
They might try and
get
put the
value.
Diva bomb on top of the Graviton, and that would just end them, really. But
They
the
will.
Diva's on the flank. Do they see the Diva? And the Graviton coming out. The Tribe going through. The bomb dropping down, though. Pretty bad
Yeah.
bomb.
Reinhardt able to get a shield. That's where the Brigitte
Juicer gets
shield back
2.
come through.
Juicy gets 2. Chappie getting the Zarya down, though.
BrainStorm playing too aggressive, losing
Too aggressive.
crucial members.
losing
I think
players,
they might
but
start losing more.
Weirdo losing. They're losing the Lucio as well. This
They're
is
playing too
worse.
aggressive here, and they're not allowing, the
They're not allowing-
They're forgetting how good the Academy is, and they're actually they're not playing properly. They've got the picks, but they're not pushing as a team, and they're not
They're
pushing.
pushing in. They're pushing in, but they're only coming out. The Ryan getting dove by the entirety of the Sandwich Academy. The Diva bomb, no. The shield coming out. But is he gonna have Shatter? Shatter getting stunned.
Shatter.
Back out shot. The Trance coming out though. The Graviton as well. Both Gravitons coming out. Weirdo getting the pick onto the Zen. Kippat getting the Rhine. And this looks like the Academy are gonna win this fight.
It's a
The Zoria's
big
got
boy
something to say
skirmish.
about it. They're getting this end down. This is a right match to watch. Chappie and Jurian going to town. Chappie killing 3 with his big hammer. And that fight there, Kurt, I think that was the best fight we've seen. I would say that was probably a good fight because both teams knew they needed to win that fight. They knew that if they lost that, they were done for. And that's what we see. Widow kind of sneaking around. Is he looking for information, Kirk, or is he just being a Reddit Lucio?
I think he's looking to try and die. I think he's got a death sentence, but he is with this team
He
now.
has a death switch, but we're seeing now the Diva coming out, Cappy pushing upwards, and the Ryan Brigitte and the Ryan pushing in, right in. The Ryan going down. So the Brig, this is bad. This is so bad for BrainStorm. 3 picks coming in, 10 on going to down.
They've got ultimates for the recontest, so
But
as long as
they
can
only
fight
needed
it off.
pick cuts. They used the Trance to try and contest. The Brigitte ultimate coming out from the Academy. The Ryan coming in like a train. The bomb coming out.
Missing the point
Killing
completely.
dead.
That right now, I
Furious,
think
get
the
the pick.
objective is going to be a game
A
changer.
very Shatter coming out, getting the Lucio, pinning him dead. Tinhorn killing us right here. Only right left, and that it seems to be the end to me, and that's the end. Another victory for the Sandwich Academy.
Which map was closer? Was it Hanamura Goats or was it Numbani? I
I feel
can't
like it's
tell.
I feel like it's that Hanamura match. On the
Honestly,
first
the
point,
Goats they
on
played
the
they played a lot more aggressive, which is what we needed to see, and it
and
did
who
pay
would you,
off like expected.
I feel like also what happened, Kurt, is that what I saw as well is that it was very one-sided past map one. And what I
Yeah.
feel like, who would you think was the real MVP throughout this entire match? Like, I feel like
Well,
it's
you've got
debatable between Weirdo, Tinhorn, or maybe Jurian. It's the three that have played the best on the academy. But
I mean,
you
when
got
a
to take into account
game is
that
so one-sided like that, it's so hard to see what the other team has to offer
I
because
feel
you did just see a general steamrolling coming through from the Sandwich Academy, So if you see such a steamroll, it's hard to see what like the Brainstorm actually have to offer because we
yeah,
didn't see a lot of
I
DPS
feel like
pop off. We didn't
the
see a lot
tank
of tank plays. We
in
didn't
the
see a
tank, I'd
lot coming
say.
from them.
I feel like
But
from the tanks as well, like I think the more superior tank in both the goats and the normal was probably Chincho. Actually, he was doing very very well. He had really good shot. He has done very. He basically carried with his shatters. His shatters are very very good, and
they were the
it's
win
showing.
conditions.
But he is the only one that I would say was playing like a
He's the only
professional.
one that was noticeable.
Like we couldn't notice as well. And like, I feel like also like even the DPS Juto was doing very well in Brainstorm. I wouldn't say as much to Tanjiro because he wasn't really apparent. You couldn't really see anything from him, and that's the issue. We
I
could
still
like
feel like Chincho
it.
was one of our
Shinchio is
stronger players
Shinchio
from
was
them.
a very very good player here, and that's what we saw throughout the day. He's been the best, and I would say definitely the best player in Brainstorm, if not the match. He's the best tank, if not the best player in general. And that
I can agree with you there. There's nothing else that I would say.
and like what I'm
I mean, that
thinking as
is
well, and I feel like it's a very one. It was very one-sided, as you said, Kirk, and that's a bit of an issue that we saw. Is that since it was so one-sided, we couldn't really see what Brainstorm had to offer to us. And apart from Chinchill, there wasn't really anything that standed out to me. That's where I'd say, um,
yeah, that's sort of where we were heading there. I
yeah,
mean, the
the
MVP,
MVPs.
it's hard. I want to congratulate you know the brainstorms for coming through with what I would say is much better gameplay towards the end. It's just too little, too late.
I feel like also what happened, Kirk, is that in general, in the MVP set, as you said, the MVPs, I say, at least from Academy, if at their DPS, I would say, did everything that game. They were definitely very good. They were doing. They got the kills. I would say Weirdo was definitely the best at making space, and his Dragon Blades were clearly on a different level. He was definitely playing much better than generally a Genji at that sort of level gets one or two kills, and then just leaves it at that. But he was killing three or four at times, killing five. I thought I even saw a 5K at one point. And then you've
Yep.
got Jurian that also puts his bob in, and using that bob
I
just
mean, he
makes
didn't
him
even
so
need
much
the
better.
bob in most fights, did he? He just kept getting the pickoffs with
He just getting
just
the picks with a
the damage
headshot,
boost.
just
Getting
the
that damage
headshot,
boost was enough for him.
just the headshots were
So
finishing him off. Clearly,
it's quite unfortunate that Brainstorm got so so taken out. I
they
mean,
got
we did see them start to fight back at the end, which is nice. We needed to see we need to see just a little bit more from the DPS because they were getting heavily outplayed. It's
brain.
kind of hard when you're taking so much damage so often.
But what
You
I
know,
feel like happened this as well, Kirk, is that Brainstorm were in a position where their tanks weren't. The tanks were very good on. like the problem was is the off tank from Brainstorm there was just not really there. The main tank of Brainstorm was making the space, but he didn't have an off tank to play with him, and that lack of
Yeah,
combo just kind of obliterated. And then just they had not enough space to be able to take down the other team with the DPS. Like the
hmm
DPS were just getting so, the Academy's DPS had so much more space, and that's
it
where
it does
they were a
come
bit
down to
stuck.
that. It
It was
comes down to the communication. I mean, if you have good communication between your players, it doesn't matter if you're mechanically a little bit worse, because
yeah.
you'll be having that coverage from your tanks and your DPS. Because if your monkey jumps in and you know that the enemy team have a significantly reduced set of healing because the Winston's on the Ana, you can then play really aggressive on their front line, knowing that you have the advantage. But it just comes down to micro communication, just like that. And it's a
I also,
shame that we didn't see it, if you ask me. I mean,
well, I
it's
also
something
feel
so
like,
simple with such a high impact.
and there's a straw poll come out for the MVP votes for the public, and I'd like to see what do you think the public's going to vote between Weirdo, Tinhorn, Chinchil, and Not Raw.
I
I
mean,
would
FTP.
say
I think they should vote you for MVP casting.
MVP caster indeed.
MVP
Like,
caster.
MVP caster.
I mean, we do. It's
Like,
it is
what
it
we,
is a say it is a shame, like we were saying. I mean, I really wanted Brainstorm to win a map. They
I
were
really wanted to brainstorm. The problem was is this match was a little bit mismatched, if you ask me. Like
yeah.
I felt like Sandwich Academy, they play at the same level, but Sandwich Academy when they put their head to it are on a different level. They are much better. When they
It does.
try their hardest, you can see it.
You do have your own SR, and then you have like the SR you're capable of playing. I mean, every team can put, every team has the chance to just scrim. I could scrim at a 3.3 level, but if I've got good coordination and I'm really trying with my mates and all that, and in my team, you can hit 3.5 really easily. So it comes down
Yeah,
to
I felt
individuals working together for a really effective team. Like I
I
can
feel
imagine the Sandwich Academy having a really good set of communication.
and like what I feel like what happened with Weirdo as well is that he was playing a Genji that works in a team more than in a. He was playing his Genji as a team player, not as a not as just a
Genji
run
on
of
its
the
own
mill
just doesn't
Genji
work.
player.
Like we know that.
Genji in a team like this, he would be very very good, and you can see like his Genji is very he's very strong with it when he puts his mind to it, and when more to the point, if you ask me, when he's got a team that actually can support him. I don't know about you, Kirk, but I know you're a Genji player yourself, and I'm sure you know that Genji on your own is very hard compared to Genji in these sorts of
Yeah.
teams.
I mean, Genji's role in sort of like the double bubble setup anyway is to try and scout and try and deal the damage with the focus fire.
Okay, and that
So
that will be the end of us.
I mean, yeah, so Genji's all about trying to get that focus fire with the main tank because he's the damage dealer. The damage dealer comes from the the damage the damage the damage
And
Jinchul
it
was the
seemed
MVP though.
Chinchilla was the MVP, and I think he deserved it. Is he was doing he was doing so well with that Reinhardt, and you could see that he was clearly definitely much more better on the tanks. But what made it hard for the academy is that it just isn't. He's just not available. He's just not. It's just not as strong for him. Uh,
It it does
And we're
come down
gonna
to the individuals.
and what I'd like to say thank you to anyone who watched the stream here, and that is going to be the end of our games for today. I hope to see you all next week with our 2 Easy Cup 0 to 3,500 SR. Thank you.
Yep, see you guys.